Assalamualaikum and greetings to Ms. Adina, our instructor for public speaking, and my fellow friends. Today I will be delivering a speech of mine that is focusing on a public figure, one of the most famous in the United States, till the present day. So, next slide. So, I will be discussing about this particular person. Do you know who this person is? Who this person is?
Yes.
Who is it?
Barack Obama.
It's true. So, for briefly, this is Barack Obama, the 44th President of the United States, serving from 2009 until 2017. So, I will be delivering a speech on his inauguration. Do you know what is inauguration?
No.
Inauguration is a ceremony in which the president must take so that he can officially be working as the president. It is like a ceremony of oath. You take the oath of office so that you can be the president. It is compulsory. You must do the inauguration so that you can be the president. It is required by the Constitution and you have to take it. Next slide. So we will get to know who is Barack Obama first. Like, who is this person? Like, where did he come from? Where did he study? Because this is crucial for us to know him. So next slide. So his full name is Barack Hussein Obama II. Yes, his middle name is Hussein, like a Muslim name. He was born on August 4th, 1961 in the city of Honolulu in the great state of Hawaii. He was born in 1961, which means that Hawaii was 2 years along as the 50th state of the United States. It's a new state, so Obama is automatically a U.S. citizen. And his father is from Kenya. His name is Barack Hussein Obama Sr. And his mother is white from Kansas, the United States citizen, Stanley Ann Dunham, and they were divorced in 1964. Obama did recall that he only met his father once because his father, immediately after Obama was born, around he was 3 years old, their parents got divorced, and his father moved back to Kenya. And then his mother would become a single mother after that. Next slide. So, his mother got married in 1965 with an Indonesian named Lolo Sutoro. So basically, Obama had to move to Indonesia and attended local schools there in Sekolah Dasar, SMP. And he studied with other Indonesians with the nickname Barry. And his mother added some subjects that is based on American education system, so he does not actually drifted away from his American studies. And then in 1970, Obama gained a half-sister named Maya Sutorodan, who was born in 1970. Fun fact about her is that her husband, Mr. Ng, I forgot the first name, he is actually Malaysian. And then after that, Obama decided to go back to the US because he wanted to pursue his education. So he moved back to Hawaii, his home state, his hometown, to live with his maternal grandparents, Stanley and Madeline Dunham, from 1971 to 1979. As you can see, that are his grandparents. Next slide. So education. He attended Punahou School, a prestigious academy from 1971 to 1979. He attended there as a student from 3rd grade until he graduated, like we did in SPM, at 17 years old. And after that, he moved to Los Angeles to attend Occidental College from 1979 to 1981, majoring in international relations and sociology. And because he is actually a brilliant and intelligent student, he then transferred to one of the most prestigious university in the world, Columbia University, from 1981 until he graduated in 1983 in international relations. Fun fact, it's also my study, international affairs management. It's the same. Next slide. So after he graduated from Columbia, he worked in New York City, the location of his university, as financial analyst and community organizer. So he was helping the people who are disadvantaged, who are poor and homeless. He worked there as working for them like an advocate to help these disadvantaged people from 1983 to 1987. So when he was working there as financial as community organizer, he realized that he needs to pursue more his study so that he can help these people more. So he decided to attend another prestigious law school in the world, in Harvard University, majoring in Juris Doctor, which is basically the law degree in US, and became, from 1988 to 1991, became the first African American president of the Harvard Law Review. During this time, he met his future wife, Michelle Robinson, which you know as the former First Lady, Michelle Obama. Next slide. After that, after he graduated from Harvard, he graduated with distinction, which means he graduated magna cum laude in the United States, which is with distinctions like Dean Award or something like that. He worked as civil rights attorney at Minor, Barnhill and Gallant from 1993 and until 2004. And he then actively joined the politics after he joined Democratic Party in 1992 and became active in voter registration and local politics. He also then taught. He was a professor at the University of Chicago Law School from 1992 until 2004. While he was working as a lawyer, he worked also as a lecturer. Next slide. So we will move to early political career. He first elected to the Illinois State Senate in 1996, serving until 2004. He was a state senator, like he would, we have in Dewan Negeri in Malaysia, but this is Senate, the state Senate. He served in state. He does not serve in Hawaii, his home state. He moved to Chicago, which was in Illinois. He then decided to pursue another higher office, the federal office in the U.S. House of Representatives in 2000, but he was lost. His first federal election, he lost it to the incumbent, the holder of the office at that time, Bobby Rush, as you can see here. Bobby Rush would then serve until 2023. He retired around 3 years ago. And next slide. So, his rise in national politics. So, when he serving as a state senator, he was not actually being silent. He was actually working hard to gain recognition from others, bringing his own unique story to other people. So, he decided to run for U.S. Senate. Just like in Malaysia, we call it Dewan Negara. U.S. Senate seat in 2004. He then obtained a position to deliver a keynote speech during the 2004 Democratic National Convention. This was like a gathering of the members of the Democratic Party to nominate their president, the presidential nominee for the presidential election. After that, people know him. He was getting famous, so he then, during the election, he won the Senate race with landslide victory of 70% over John J. Allen Keyes, the largest victory in the state of Illinois. This record is still the same. There are no records beating. This is the map of the race. You can see Louis Obama, he won very big against this candidate. He then served as senator actively until his presidential run in 2008. Next slide. Then, how was Obama elected? Obama was, next slide. Obama first announced his presidential election, which was set to be in 2008. He announced his campaign in 2007 in Springfield, Illinois. He wanted to succeed George W. Bush, the 43rd president. His focus on campaign is on change and hope, to bring a new perspective than his predecessor, who was actually focusing on some unpopular decisions that makes many Americans hate George W. Bush. So then he narrowly defeated Hillary Clinton and secured the Democratic Party's nomination. As you can see the results here. Although we can see Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, the people's vote, but actually Obama carried the states, which was actually the determining victory. As you can see that there. Next slide. So the main concern of the presidential election in 2000 was the economic recession that we did know, some of them actually. The economic recession that begins in 2007, putting the country's economy at risk, and not only the United States, but we also experienced it at Malaysia at that time. And then misconduct of the Iraq War under President Bush is endangering Obama's party opponent, the Republican Party. The Iraq War conduct was very much hated by Americans because it was truly unpopular, because many people died. So people were like, no, we do not like this Iraq War stuff. We need to change the president who will oppose the war. Next slide. So, heading towards the general election. So, if you want to run as president, as a candidate, you must have a running mate. This running mate will then become your vice presidential candidate. So, Obama picked one of the best experienced person to be alongside him. He picked then U.S. Senator from Delaware, Joseph Robinette Joe Biden, as his running mate. As you know, Joe Biden is now the president of the United States now, the 46th president. Obama Biden ticket will face the Republican nominee, Senator John McCain of the state of Arizona, alongside his running mate, Governor Sarah Palin of Alaska. These were the candidates that will run in 2008 presidential election. Next slide. So, what differs between both of them? Obama centered on hope, change, and unity, bringing a new, fresh leadership to change the economy and the situations of the United States. McCain brought experience to maintain the country at stability. So, both campaigns have differed very much, but both the candidates, if you want to know, are very respectful, and it was peaceful, unlike we see now, like President Trump's conduct. So, it is obvious. How do we see, who will see to be the next president of the United States? Next.
It is now 11 o'clock on the East Coast. We can report history. Barack Obama is projected to be the next president of the United States of America. NBC News calling for the Democratic candidate. The states of California, 55 electoral votes. Washington, 11 electoral votes. Oregon, 7 electoral votes. And Hawaii, 4 electoral votes. Listen to the crowd at Grant Park in Chicago.
So, as you can see from that video, Obama won with decisive victory of 365 electoral votes to John McCain's 173 electoral votes. So, and then we move to the last one, the inauguration of Barack Obama. Next slide. The background is that Team Obama will cooperate with Team Bush for the transition process, the changing of the leadership, administration. The inauguration date will be set on 20 January 2009. It marked the 220th year since the first inauguration of George Washington, as you can see here. This practice is required through 20th Amendment, a tapestry of America's culture of democracy. Next. The enforcement of law and order saw the involvement of joint cooperation between the Secret Service, the President's Guard, National Guard, the state's military, and the United States Capitol Police. Around 25,000 National Guard troops deployed to assist with security enforcement, and its expenditure, the spending reached up to $100 million to guard the inauguration. Next slide. So, the highlights of the inauguration, the theme was a new birth to freedom. If you were invited to the inauguration, you might get this invitation, but I don't have. Next slide. So this is the swearing in of the Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden. The oath of office was administered by former Associate Justice John Paul Stevens. This is Biden taking the oath of office to be Vice President. And then next, you can see the Obama's oath of office. Okay. So we will move on to the last part, the conclusion. Next slide. So, as you can see that Obama was actually a person who has a unique background and personality, which many people would then see him as a leader of hope, because he lives in a diverse background, his biracial background, his experience living in other countries, which makes people see him as a person who is qualified enough to be their leader. And then he also served many positions that actually help the American people who are disadvantaged, who are poor, and who are struggling to live. And that is why I call him as a leader of hope for all Americans. So, next. Thank you. Q&A session.
Question?
The next inauguration. Thank you for that question. The next inauguration would be on 20 January 2025, in another 11 days, which would be the inauguration of Donald Trump and his Vice President, J.D. Vance.
Okay, another question. What can we learn from Barack Obama inauguration?
What we can learn from Barack Obama's inauguration is how people in the United States can actually forget about their dark history of slavery and many other disastrous events could lead to a person like Obama to be the President of the United States. This moment is actually historic for the Americans because they witnessed the first black person to be the president.